This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Welcome to this very, very, very special edition of Out of England. I'm truly very happy to be here at the home of an Indian family, the Pullays, who've invited me here to Stanmore, which is northern part of London, northwest part of London. And you must be quite amused with what you see around me. This, of course, is going to be an interesting conversation, and no surprises or no prizes for guessing what this could be about, given we also have amidst us Lord Rama, we have Lord Hanuman, and there's Ravana, and then of course Sita, who's in the making. We'll get you images of that. But why are we here at this beautiful home? We're here because Shreyas and younger brother Iyer Pullay have put together an audiobook on the Ramayana. And I have heard this, I went through the usual process of finding it on Audible, and then I heard it. It's about 1 hour and 5 minutes long, or 7 minutes long to be precise.
1 hour and 2 minutes.
1 hour and 2, is it? Okay. So I heard probably some advertisements, and everything put together, it's about 1 hour and 5 minutes or so. It's a very simple, very well articulated version of the Ramayana. And I'm so glad you boys did this, because now you have their version playing on British Airways. Where else? Where else is this available?
So it's available on Amazon, so their audiobook platform, which is called Audible.
Yeah.
And so you can actually listen to it in BA aircrafts. Where else? I mean,
available in RNIB library.
Yeah,
It's available in the RNIB library.
Yes, and the RNIB is Royal National Institute for the Blind, and because it's an audiobook, the institute has actually put together a book in Braille, which really touches me, because this is a version of the Ramayana which the blind, totally blind as well.
Yes. Totally, I think partially blinded, visually impaired people can use this book to understand the story.
Yes, and somebody did some
take it to India actually. So this was given to us. A copy was sent to us by the RNIB in July last year, and around that time I was going to India, and I had taken this copy to Devnar Institute for Blind Children in Hyderabad, and the director had called a girl who's fully blind, and she read the book effortlessly. She kind of made sense of the story, and she read it with the pauses, and she knew where to stop, and it was an incredible experience to see somebody.
I'm sure must have been quite emotional, isn't it? So yes, that is of course the pretext, and since we're already into the conversation, I think better late than never. Let's do a quick round of introduction. So these are the Pullays. This is Neelima, who looks quite like the elder sister of Shreyas and Iyer, but is their mother, and has also participated in the production activity of this project. Shreyas and I, how old are you boys?
I'm 19 years old.
19, and
I'm
you
14.
are you? 14. 14, and with me are Roger and Jilly. They're puppeteers, they design puppets, and that beautiful looking, handsome looking Lord Rama is actually something that Roger has designed. And these beautiful looking characters, and I've not really seen a Ravana looking as evil as that. Look at his mane, look at the number of heads he has around him. It's not that stereotypical, horizontally headed Ravana, but that is a creation of Jilly, who's lived for many years in India, who's grown up in India in Mumbai. So thank you for joining us on this conversation. With this audiobook, the family is hoping that they can take this to another level. And I'm going to ask Neelima just how all this began, and what is your thought behind having these puppets created?
I think puppet shows are actually a very subtle and a very simple form of conveying a story. And having seen how well the audiobook has done, we thought the narrative could be taken and applied to a visual format.
And this epic that the Ramayana is, I'm sure it'll have the kind of interest. But I'm curious. Have you been fascinated by this epic? Do you know much about the Ramayana, Roger?
No, I once, a few years ago, went to the British Library. They had a wonderful exhibition of, I think, a 17th century series of paintings of the Ramayana. That was really my only encounter with it. The images were extraordinary, but then it kind of, I didn't hear any more about it until Neelamar and Julie approached me about the possibility of making puppets for the Ramayana. But and listening to the version, the audiobook, which gripped me. I was very, very entertained by it, and it was very clear and lovely to listen to. Fascinating story.
Yeah, I fully agree. It was very, very relatable, and for someone who knows the story, this version was a simpler edited version, and you know, we in the business of news are very used to copy edit. We really like editing stuff, and so this was a clear, clean, no mistake edited version of it. So thank you for that. Jilly, you've grown up in Bombay, did you say? In Mumbai, erstwhile Bombay. Tell us about your experience and your fascination with this epic.
Well, I absolutely love it. I think it's a wonderful, world-class, obviously, epic. The Ramayana and the Mahabharata are absolutely key, I think, to the literature of the world. And I got to know them quite young. Probably initially I came across them in comic form, but that's okay because it gave me the interest. And then later on, when I started to kind of look into world religions and literature, and I've been very, very drawn always to Indian paintings and Indian culture in general, which I absolutely love, and I'm trying to keep the design for this.
They are fantastic.
So
they're so authentic looking, they're fantastic. And Hanuman truly looks amazingly handsome for me. He looks,
I think Ravana looks
Ravana for you.
I mean, I love the way the 10 heads have come around his main head. And the 9 other heads are showing the dark side of him, whereas the real face is handsome, and Ravana is meant to be a handsome king.
Yes.
So I like the way it's been
And a very strong king, so I see a very able-looking body.
Yes.
Yes.
he is seated here, but we don't have space. But he obviously, I can't show you them moving at the moment because we haven't got the rods on, but they move like any other puppet.
But I'm sure Rama can move quite a bit, and Roger can show us Rama moving.
Yes, he is a fully three-dimensional puppet, what we call a tabletop puppet, and so I've carved him with joints that move as much as possible like a human would move. So when I'm making a puppet, I'm bearing in mind that no joints should go off in the wrong directions.
Does he do archery as well?
He does archery, yes. In fact, the way I've designed his hands is to have his right hand able to hold and pull an arrow, and his left hand to hold his bow. He's not got his bow just yet, but that's in the pipeline.
So this is a project that is so wonderfully ambitious, because they are hoping that they can get this audiobook alive in the form of a puppet show in London, and puppeteers Jilly and Roger are helping them achieve what they're hoping to do. And I'd like to hear more about how long you propose to take for this to come alive. Is this going to be Broadway style puppet show? What is the idea? Any of you?
So I guess we plan to try and release it by Diwali. So the first shows are just leading up to Diwali, so raise awareness and people can enjoy the whole experience of Diwali and through the puppet show. I think we have various different areas that we would like to go to. but I think my mum is managing that.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot of money as well, and you are not exactly a family that is meant to do puppet shows, because you are real people trying to pay your electricity bills. How are you going to be managing all of this?
So the good news, as far as to keep us going, the first good news is that the Bharati Vidya Bhavan in London is very excited about this project, and
So are we.
yeah, Jilly, Roger, and I went to demonstrate the work that's been done so far, and Mr. Nandakumara has kindly offered the Bhavans to showcase the work, to showcase the Ramayana. So we are hoping, all things going well, we are hoping that we'll have the premiere of this show at the Bhavans pretty much a day before Diwali. So in the week of Diwali, we'll be doing, we are hoping to do shows at the Bhavans. And I am talking to other theatres as well to see how we could tour in and around London. In terms of the money, yes, it is. We are hoping to get some funding from the Arts Council, England, and I am looking for sponsors too. I am investing some money of mine as well, because we have to get the puppets made, and puppetry, making each puppet takes about a couple of weeks or more.
Yeah.
So it is a very involved process.
And one day before Diwali, you said, so I have made note already mentally in my calendar. But Iyer, I want to ask you about how your friends have reacted to this project. Are they very curious? Are they aware of Lord Rama, Goddess Sita, and the other characters?
So in my school, we used to learn about Diwali, I think last year, and I think it was quite good, because I realised how much this project could actually help people around the country to understand the culture, because I realised that we learnt about it so little. We basically just skipped over the Ramayana. It was so brief. And I realised that people actually liked the story, and a lot of the people in my class, they were interested about it, but they were interested in the story, but they couldn't actually learn anything from what we were taught, because we skipped over it.
Would you like it to be in detail? Would you be interested if it were part of your mainstream British syllabus?
I think a lot of people around my age group would be quite interested, because it's a more interesting way of conveying religion instead of the standard way in which you learn about it in the story format. Yeah. Every year we all see the fireworks and we all see the candles, but it's interesting to learn the story behind the one.
Sure. I think it's not just about religion, isn't it? It's about the qualities that Rama had, the qualities that Hanuman had, which are so incomparable, so rare. Why would you think that this should be part of mainstream syllabus across the world? Because we know that there's a petition which is still to be discussed in the Parliament, but we know that there is a real big demand or request being made to make both the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, which we've all grown up reading about, listening to. Why should it be part of the mainstream syllabus?
Well, I think largely because I think because it is what I said earlier. I think it's a world-class story. I mean, it holds its own and is better than many others in world-class stories, and it has so much within it. It isn't just a miminy-piminy story. It's full of violence and betrayal and love and redemption and all the things that could possibly make a good story, with really important things that you can chew on. I mean, there are lots of episodes in the Ramayana that we've talked about on occasion, which we think, well, why does it say that? Why is that? That's a difficult thing to approach from our point of view, and it just sustains. It has all the things that make thought worthwhile, really.
Yes.
And that sounds like a terribly pompous thing to say, but you can kind of fluff around with unimportant things, but there's so much meat in it, and you can approach it from, as you came across when you were younger, really dumbed down versions of it, which are still good stories, and really academic texts which you can plough through and still don't answer all the questions.
Good. I mean, there are only a few main characters you can really pick from: Rama, Lakshmana, Hanuman, and then Sita. But I think.
But you also have Ravana. You have
I mean, I don't think you can go on live TV and say Ravana is your favorite character. But I would probably say Lakshmana because he's quite relatable for us mere mortals. Obviously, Rama is a god and is an incarnated god, and so putting him as your favorite character means that you have to try and live up to his character and his highest standards. But Lakshmana has his faults as well, which is quite relatable. He has his fiery streak, but at the same time, he's a loving brother. He's a great warrior, and he's willing to do what's right at all times. What about you, Iyer?
Yes, I will.
So I like two characters. So I think I like Hanuman. Hanuman is definitely my favourite character, but I think Vibhishana, he also gets mentioned a lot less, but Vibhishana was important because he was loyal, but he also did what was right in the end, and he realised that he had to leave Ravana because Ravana wasn't doing the right thing, and so he had to leave Rama and join the right side, Rama.
You make that choice.
Well, I'll have to say Sita. I mean, I do like all the other characters as well, but Sita, I think although we tend to think that Sita is very demure and she probably doesn't have a huge personality, I think she has a very strong personality. When Rama says to her that you will have to stay back with my mothers and look after them while I'm away in the forest, she does stand her ground and she says, my right is to be by your side. And she does stand her ground and she plays her role very well. I think she has done, her role is commendable.
Okay, Julie, you have some thoughts?
Up to a point, I also say Sita, obviously, because she's a... But I have problems with her not accepting to go back with Hanuman when she could have escaped and avoided all the war that came afterwards. But she's so badly treated at the end, which we do not touch in this, and which most nowadays you seldom hear the end. So I feel obviously solidarity with Sita, but I actually like Jayatu. I think that he's just Jatayu, but my pronunciation is terrible anyway. But because he's sort of the first sacrifice, isn't he? And he's so noble when it happens and selfless, and the fact that he is just treated so thoughtlessly by Ravana and just chopped up and left to...
But going back to your thing about Sita could have easily gone off with, she could have gone back with Hanuman. I guess Sita was trying to give, she was showing respect to Rama. He wants Rama, the warrior, to come and defeat the demon and establish justice in Lanka because she knows what Ravana did was wrong. So if she had gone, I think, this is my thoughts. These are my thoughts.
And when it comes to the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, I think all the more in the case of Mahabharata, when there is so much that can be spoken about, there are so many loopholes, so many layers to it, and there can be so many perspectives, interpretations and perspectives on a character, on why they did what they did, on how it could have been the other way around, and so on and so forth. And that brings me to a very interesting observation made on how the boys in their audiobook have edited out the part where the Agni Pariksha happens for Sita. And why did you do that?
So for those of you that don't know what the Agni Pariksha is, it's where Sita enters the fire at the end of the story, having been told by Rama to prove her purity as a wife, and I think we cut that out because I don't really think it plays a large part in modern society for women to have to prove their chastity in such a demeaning way.
So you just chose not to have that part at all?
Yeah, I didn't think it was in line with the rest of the story, and I don't think it is anymore.
Good luck, Jilly and Roger, who are joining this team who are joining the Pullays to contribute with their experience in the world of puppets, and to try and tell the story to the rest of London and hopefully England and UK and the globe, hopefully. Good luck again. Yes, good luck again. And like I told you, for any of you watching this show, if you want to write to us, if you want to reach out to them, if you want to contribute in some way with your ideas or with funds or with just support, then write to us. ooe@ndtv.com is where you write it. Radhika Iyer signing off on NDTV.
Radhika Iyer.